Good evening, Jackson. What's going on, everybody? How's everybody going? I'm quite sure you all heard the news. Early this afternoon at the 4 o'clock, at the top of the 4 o'clock hour. About former Mayor Chokwe Antar Lumumba, former council member Aaron Banks, and former city attorney Jody Owens. All three has pleaded. They didn't plead, but they is not guilty. They pleaded. Yeah, it's a plea. They pleaded not guilty. They all pleaded not guilty. It wasn't found not guilty. They pleaded not guilty. And for me, this thing here, I told you guys in some of my earlier videos, when this Ted DiBiase Jr. thing went down, we talked about this, and I told you that the feds ain't finna take another L. The feds ain't finna take a L. And we discussed this. I mean, it's like not even, it's a no-brainer, because I'm not gonna pull the race card here, but I damn sure want to do it. You know what I'm saying? But I can't pull the race card here because this is some real political crap. I mean, it's some real political crap. Somebody's career is finna be enhanced. I'm talking about somebody's career, because first you had a former professional wrestler. He was a public figure, you know what I'm saying, based on, because, his father was, high profile, he was a high profile celebrity, and he was kind of a high profile celebrity too, because he got mad love from the WWE, you know what I'm saying, in support, So, I mean, but when this right here came up, it was like, so then now this thing here popped up. But what I'm saying is that, like I said before, they had to have something on these three fellas. It's like something, they had to be done did something before. See, because in my research about entrapment, the only way it can be entrapment is if you don't have a history. You never had a history of taking no bribe. There was nothing built. There was no case built upon you. They just all of a sudden just wanted to come and just try to put some bread in your hand and then try to put the cuffs on you and lock you up. That would be considered entrapment. That would be considered entrapment. See what I'm saying? So what was the and I'm quite sure that judge was smart, because I'm quite sure he saw the case law on the entrapment cases. He saw the same entrapment case law that I probably saw, that I probably read. And it's like I said, but at the same time, the principles of it, if there was no principles, if the principles of entrapment wasn't involved in this case, they're going to get locked up, because that means that they've been and did something more than what they was, they got caught out there for, and they was building a case on them. They was building a case on them. Now, let me say this through the grapevine. All right, look, this is allegedly now. It's all allegedly. I did hear through the grapevine, allegedly, that somebody did vote for Richard's disposal on that council when Aaron Banks was council member. Was it him? Could have been. Might have not been. And look, like I said, this is hearsay. This is hearsay, and like I said, it's all alleged. Allegedly. But I did hear that somebody else on that council did vote for Richard's disposal. But I'm not, like I said, and I bet you all the tea in China that Richard's disposal thing is one of the things that was popped up. They ain't. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I know that's what it is. It's got to be something with that Richard's disposal, and it's something else. You know what I'm saying? Cause none of this crap sit right for me. It don't sit right with me. It don't sit right. They time this thing real good. They timed this thing real good. They did it back to back right after that charge, right after the charge with Ted DiBiase Jr. Then they came over with their case. Come on, B. You know what I'm saying? It don't, I'm sorry. It still don't sit right with me. Could have been more. It could have been. Because I'm quite sure. Why would they plead out? Why would they plead out if the feds didn't have something else on them? And I mean, because I'm like this here. If you ain't look, okay, let's. Oh, come on, B. Look at Ted DiBiase Jr. Ted DiBiase Jr. said he gave the feds the finger. Ted DiBiase Jr. gave the feds the finger. Well, let's take it to court. Let's take it to court. And what you gonna do? And what? And allegedly, if there was bread involved, he kept it. Did they come after him? No. No. They didn't do nothing. His case is over. So, my thing is that what more did the feds have on these three individuals? But I can't, like I said, I'm not finna pull the race cards here because I can't, because there's an underlying reason why these guys were, these guys pleaded guilty. You know what I'm saying? It was, I'm telling you, it was another underlying reason, because if they didn't, the feds would have had a stronger case that they was going to present, and it was going to railroad them cats way up the river, far along where they wanted to be. So if they get a 5-year joint, they might use their, immunity or whatever you want to call it, their political immunity, or I don't know what you want to call it, whatever the case that they serve. It'll probably be taken in consideration that they've served office and get slapped on the wrist. You know what I'm saying? But it's crazy when you're in a political office. See, the Ted DiBiase Jr. case was a different thing, because that cat, he was just a regular, he wasn't he's a celebrity, but he was still a civilian. He wasn't in office nowhere like these cats were. You know what I'm saying? But still in all, yo, who sung like a canary? No one. And them folks, if let me say something. Allegedly, if this cat did, so funds was sent to his nonprofit, which it was stated that he was deposited bread in different accounts. Okay, if he was, maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. Who knows? It's all alleged. It might, because it's because like I said, it's all circumstantial. Because did they prove anything? No, they couldn't prove anything. That's why he walked. But them cats didn't walk because they said the stakes is too high. What was too high for them to say? For them to give the feds the finger like he did, like Ted DiBiase Jr. See my point? What was it so high? What stakes was at? What was the stakes? What stakes was raised where these cats said we can't give him the finger like Ted DiBiase Jr. did? Oh, he got some bread. Ted DiBiase Jr. got some bread. He got some bread because it was stated he had got some bread. They got, but like I said, he didn't cop no plea. He didn't cop a plea. He said, "No, like the last Mr. Big said, take it to trial. Take it to trial." You know the rest of the song. Take that trial. Take that trial. Y'all know the song. That's what he did. He took it to trial, and that's real gangster. I ain't even gonna front. Yo, they can say whatever they want to say, but that's real gangster. That's real. I'm talking about gangster. And I understand that he probably was stressed, but he probably was stressed because of just going up there all the time and dealing with all that, you know. But he probably wasn't. He probably was confident. He probably, you know what I'm saying? He probably like Mike Tyson, made up confident, cocky confidence. You know what I'm saying? Because he knew he probably had it in the bag. The Fed cats ain't had nothing on them. But on these cats, it's a wrap. Ted DiBiase Jr. Case, in this case, dealing with the feds, the stakes was different. See, how high was the stakes in his Chokwe Antar, in former Mayor Chokwe Antar Lumumba, former council member Aaron Banks, and former city attorney Jody Owens case? How high was the stakes? What type of evidence did they have? Is the question that you want to ask before you going into pulling race cards and doing all this kind of stuff. Because it's not what you know, it's what? It's what you can prove.